Okay. Sorry, I think my mic was mute. Sorry. So I was telling that let's start with the scaled index addressing mode, which we have postponed for since a class or two. So let us take the same example that we have taken previously. Move EAX, comma brackets of EBX plus 4 into ECX. Okay. Now in scaled index addressing mode, there are four scalings which are possible. Okay. The multiplication. So this is called as a base. Okay, this is called as a base now, and this is the index, right? And you scale the index. This is the scaling factor that you have. Okay, so this is the scaling factor. Now the scaling factor can be 1, 2, 4, or 8. Okay, scaling factor can be 1, 2, or 4, or 8. Scaling factor, right? Okay, so the template of this instruction will be as we have seen a few classes back. Okay, so you will have all uh, you will have the the scaled index factor in between. Okay, so you will be using this particular template. Okay, if you have an address override, you will have that address override, then register override, opcode, mod reg r by m field, and then you will have the scaled index. Okay, so this extra byte that you have, that will be inserted here. Okay, so now if you go back to this particular example that you have, okay, right. So you have 1000110, that is your opcode. Okay, so 10010, which is your opcode. Okay, and then you have the direction bit, which is into a register. Okay, because you are moving into a register EAX, and then you are moving a 32-bit data, right? So therefore W bit is 1. Okay, then the mod. Okay, this is the reg, and this is the r by m field. Okay, so the mod field r by m field. First, let us talk about the reg. We know that if the destination is EAX, reg field will be 000, right? So this is for EAX. Okay, so this is for EAX. Okay, now mod and r by m field. Now mod and r by m field, we will be looking at the 32-bit template, 32-bit addressing template. Okay, so let's look at the 32-bit addressing template. Okay, so this is the 32-bit addressing template, which we have seen even in the tutorial also. So I have the if you look at the instruction again, uh, you have EBX plus some scaling into ECX. Okay, so you have this particular thing. Okay, now you do not have any scaling index plus some data. You don't have anything like that. Okay, so therefore you will be choosing this particular thing, that is 00100, 1000, the first column, right? So you will be seeing that particular thing. In this case, you will be choosing that particular thing, 00100. Okay, so 00100. Okay, this is the mod field, and this is the r by m field. Okay, as we have seen here. Okay, so you have 00100. Okay, you will be using this particular thing. Okay, so you are having chosen 00. Yes, 1 second, please. So 00100, you will choose this. And now further the scaled index part. For the scaled index part, here in this case, you are choosing 0, 0. Okay. Now the scaling factor, the scaling factor, okay. So it can be 1, 2, 4, or 8. Okay. If the scaling factor is 1, the SS field will be 0, 0. Okay. If if it is 2, the scaling SS field will be 0, 1. Okay. Okay. And if the scaling factor is 4, it will be 1, 0. Okay. There's some issue with my pen. Okay. And if it is 8, it will be 1, 1. Okay. So now scaling factor 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, or 1, 1. Okay. Now scaling factor in this case is 4. Therefore, it will be 1, 0. Okay. Scaling factor here is 4. Therefore, SS field will be 1, 0. Now index. What is the index in the register here? Scaling factor here is 4. Therefore, SS field will be 1, 0. Now index. What is the index in this case? Which register is the index here? Anybody? Which register is the index? ECX. Yes.
ECX.
ECX is the index. ECX is the index, and you have what is the base here? EBX. EBX is the base. ECX is the index. Okay. So now if you go to this table, okay, you see here. Okay, the reg field, if you look at it, EBX corresponds to 011. Okay, and ECX corresponds to 001. Okay, index is 001 ECX. In 001, this corresponds to ECX. Okay, and okay, I don't know what's happening. Okay, this is EBX. Okay, okay, this is for EBX and this is for ECX. Okay, so now you will have 00, which is for 4. Okay, 4. Index is ECX. Okay, index is ECX and base is 011 EBX. Okay, so that is how you form it. Okay, so the whole if you convert this into the hexadecimal, it will be 8 followed by B. Okay, then 0, then 4. Sorry, yes, it should be 4. 1 0 0 0, this is 8, this is B, 0 0. Okay, 0 1 0 0, 0 1 0 0 will be how much? 2 4, it should be 4. Okay, 4 8 B. Okay, so the answer will be 8 B. Okay, then 0 4. Okay, and then followed by 8 and then B. Right, and then you will have an address override and register override both. In this case, if you are using in a 16-bit operation mode, 66 67 followed by 66, because you are using a 32-bit address template, and you are also using 32-bit registers. So therefore you will have 67 and 66 both. Right, 67 and 66 both. Okay, so this is how you will be using the scaled index addressing mode. Now scaled index addressing mode is available only in the 32-bit processors and above. Okay, that is 80386 32-bit and 80486, and of course Pentium and all those things also, of course. Right, any queries here? Any queries here? Why 66 when everything is 32 bits? We are using 32-bit template, but you are operating in 16-bit mode, na? That is the reason. Right? You are operating in 16-bit operation mode. When you are using 16-bit operation mode, If you are using 32-bit address template, you will get a 67 violation of address template, right? 16-bit mode, yes, real mode. And if and because you are operating 32-bit registers, you get a 66 also, and you address violation, because and you will get 67 also. You are violating both address and register. Yeah, that's also valid. You have D8, that is also valid, right? When would the instruction look? How would the instruction look when you have D8 instruction? So you have something like this, like just like Ruchir has put. So something like that you will have. So for example, move EAX, comma EBX plus 4 ECX plus 34. That is one example. Okay. How do index and base tell whether EBX and ECX and not BX and CX? Okay. The reason being that first of all, you are using a you're using the scaled index addressing mode. First thing is that when you're using scaled index addressing mode, that itself actually tells you that you will be using 32-bit registers to generate the address offset. Okay, to generate the address offset. Now, my question to you: can in 16-bit addressing mode, 16-bit mode of operation, is there any scenario where you will not have a register override? My question to you is, in scaled index addressing mode, okay, is there any scenario in 16-bit operation mode, real mode of operation, is there a scenario where you do not have a register override? If yes, how? If yes, how?
So, like, instead of EBX in the previous instruction, we can, sorry, instead of EAX, we can just write AX.
Right, exactly. If the destination register is a 16-bit register, for example, if the destination register is a 16-bit register or 8-bit register, for example, then the only one byte in the, if you are using, let us say that I'm using AH instead of EAX, I use AH. Okay. For ease of my pen, let me use a Jamboard. Okay, I think that would be better. Somehow the PDF is not actually are you able to see the jam? Are you able to hear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you able to see the Jamboard now? Are you able to see?
No, sir.
You're not able to see the Jamboard. Okay. One second. Okay, you are able to see my screen, right? You are able to see the Jamboard. Are you able to see? Yes. Okay. So let us say that I have moved AH. Okay, AH comma EBX plus 4 into ECX. Okay. Now, because your data, sorry, you are actually moving a 8-bit data into AH. Okay, destination is AH. Okay, 8 bits of data will be moved. Okay, and since you are using 8-bit register here, data move, and you are using an 8-bit register. Okay, so therefore no register override. in real mode. And in fact, if you use 8-bit register, you will not get a override even in the protected mode, that is the 32-bit operation mode also. Okay, let us say I use move AX comma EBX plus 4 into ECX. No, that's not allowed. Hari Venkat, that's not allowed. Okay, so here I'm moving a 16-bit data. Okay, here no register override, same. Here also you will not get a register override. Okay, so in this case also no register override, right? Okay, because you are using 16-bit registers in 16-bit operation mode, right? Okay, any other queries? Any other queries? That's not allowed, Venkat, because you are using BX and CX. BX and CX, they don't make up a scaled index addressing mode. In scaled index addressing mode, you will be using 32-bit registers, right? Can you please show the Jamboard again? Okay, sure. Right? So in this, you are moving an 8, this is AH. AH means the destination is an 8-bit register. Because it is an 8-bit register, 8-bit data will be moved. Okay, and because 8-bit data is moved, 8-bit register is used, there is no register override in real mode or even in the protected mode in this case. So here the destination is AX, which is 16-bit register. So there is no register override in real mode of operation.
Sir, do the base and index need to be 32-bit registers?
Yes, because because they are actually used by the 32-bit processors, and it's a scaled index addressing mode, right? So they have to be 32-bit registers.
But
Right?
sir, EVX and ECX are still 32-bit register.
They are used for generating the address. They are used for generating the address. Address override is basically, register override is basically coming from your destination or the source operand. Okay. Now EBX and ECX, they are used to generate the address. Okay. So if you are using EBX and ECX, they will be accounted in the address generation. If they pertain to, if there is any violation, they will be accounted in the address override. Okay. So they are not destination or source registers. Okay, they are used to generate an address. Okay, so therefore they will not contribute to any register override if there is any. Okay. What is the significance of the mode of operation? Right. The significance of mode of operation is that basically, see, the point is that in 16-bit mode of operation, you are using this is called as a real mode of operation. Okay, in real mode of operation, only first 1 MB, first 1 megabyte of data will be accessed by any processor, whether it is 80386, 486, or 8086. That is a real mode of operation, 16-bit operation mode. In 32-bit mode of operation, which is generally used in higher end processors, that is above 8086, 80286 onwards, that is used as the protected mode of operation, where more than 1 megabyte can be accessed. So that is the significance of, that's a 32-bit mode of operation, right? So there will be a lot of features which are available in the protected mode of operation, right? Why do we select SI plus D8 while selecting mod and RBAM field? No, when do we select? Okay, sorry. When do we select SI plus D8 in this field? That depends on, let us say if you have an instruction like, I just take this and this is actually not related to this thing. Okay, so suppose if you have move AH comma SI plus 34H. Or if I need not even have this plus, I just have like this, right? So this will be SI plus D8, right? Okay, right. I think we have to move to our this thing. Any significance of reason of real and protected mode? Protected mode is because where you have protected mode is because where you will actually see this in the lectures. If at all we get to the protected mode, we have time in the course to go to the protected mode of operation. Basically that there will be certain permissions that will be laid for applications to access a particular address. Okay, if that privileges are not given, then access to a particular address locations may not be available. Okay, so basically in protected mode of operation, only certain applications will be able to access certain address locations. If you do not have sufficient privileges, for example, if you do not have administrative rights, you will not be able to access the C drive or some other drives in certain cases. If you lay the permissions properly, you will not be able to access the C drive or any operating system drive that you have, right? So why? Because the privileges are not set. So in protected mode of operation, you can set these privileges and all those things so that that memory can be protected from any unprecedented, or you can say undesirable access of data or mutation of data, right? So that all those features will come into play in protected mode of operation. That is why it is called as a protected mode. You are protecting the memory from some unauthorized access or undesirable access, right? So that is the reason we do that. Okay, fine. Let's go to the lecture that I mean the program registers that we were seeing. Sorry, the instructions that we were seeing. Okay, one second. Right. Okay, we were looking at this particular program that we have. We are trying to transfer 32 bytes of data from 42000H to 44000H. So that was the program that we were looking. We saw the program already. Okay, where we loaded the DS first, then SI, then DI, and CX we loaded with the count, which is 0032H, which is 50 in hexadecimal, and these are the machine code for the same thing. Okay, this it's a immediate instruction. Therefore 10111 000 and 0040, these are in hex. Okay, then again this one for DS you have this particular thing. Okay, you have the segment thing which we have seen in the previous class. Okay, and this is for your move SI comma 2000. Okay, this is in binary, this is in hex. Okay, okay, one second, let me change to laser. Yeah, these are in hex. Same thing with this DI. Okay, this is in binary, this is in hex, this is again in binary, move CX 0032. Okay, so you have LSB first, then MSB 3200. Okay, and then the further instructions that we have seen last time: move BL comma SI brackets, move DI brackets comma BL. So all these things you have the binary code, the machine codes here. Okay, the point that we have to drive here is how do you actually calculate the displacement? So that's the point that we were discussing. Okay, as I said, the size of these instructions here, this is 2 bytes. This is 2 bytes. This is 1 byte, 1 byte, 1 byte, and then 1 byte plus displacement. Okay, so let me put it in a table. Okay, let us say these are the physical locations that I have. Okay, so B80040. Okay, B80040 actually pertains to this particular instruction. Okay, move AX. This is B8. Okay, this is B80040. Okay, this is actually B80040. Okay, and so on. So if you look at it in the table, B80040, then 80D8 and all those things. Okay, we are basically specifically interested in move BL comma SI. Okay, move BL comma SI. Let me erase some of the things here. Okay, or this is 8, this is A, 8A, this is 1, and this is 1C, right? 8 plus 4, 12. Yeah, 8, 1C. Okay, so 8A, 1C. Okay, 8A, 1C is actually move BL comma SI brackets. Okay, so this is the instruction. So this is the target location of the jump. This is the target location of your jump or target instruction of your jump. Okay, now if you look at the jump instruction, it is 0 1 1 0 1 0 1, that is 7 3 7 5. Okay, followed by 7 5 displacement. Okay, so if you look at if you put them in the sequential order, this will be the address, this will be the hex machine code. Okay, this is the hex machine code. This is the hexadecimal machine code. Okay, so if you actually put it, it will be somewhere over here. 7 5, this is your jump instruction. Okay, now please recall that when you actually execute a particular instruction, the IP instruction pointer will be pointing to the next instruction. Okay, so when jump instruction was being executed, the instruction pointer will be here. Okay, whereas what is your target instruction? Target instruction is 8A1C, which is over here. Okay, this is your target instruction. Okay, so when an instruction has to be taken, okay, we said that when jump J and Z, when J and Z is happening, okay, if zero flag is not set, it should go to move BL comma SI brackets. This is the instruction that it has to go. Okay, so it will say what is the displacement. So with respect to this, we have to check what is the displacement. So now the instruction pointer is here. Okay, so it has to go to the instruction. Next instruction has to be fetched from 000E. Okay, so this is the place of move BL comma this thing. Okay, so this is the place where it has to actually jump to. Okay, so this is the target, this is the present position of IP 00E 00E minus 00017. Okay, so if you subtract that, it will be actually F7H. Okay, so the displacement value will be F7H. Okay, the XX value here that you have, okay, is actually equal to F7H. Okay, so that's how you do it. So the instruction pointer will be pointing to the next instruction, which is 00017. Okay, and the target instruction is at 000E. Okay, so 00E destination minus the source or the present location will be F7. Please mark that F7 is actually a negative number. Okay, so it will be subtracted, right? So it will be subtracted, right? I think it's clear, right? Okay, so okay, let us go to some arithmetic instructions that we have, that is add and subtract, which are there in the instruction set of 8086 and 80486. Okay, now add instruction.
Sir, what is the machine code for the JNZ instruction?
JNZ instruction, as we have told, it is 7.5. 7.5 plus displacement. In this case, it will become 7.5 F7. We
So
have
are the
discussed
zeros ignored
with zeros.
from the address, the 5-digit address 000E minus 0017?
Yeah, because see, now we'll actually see it little more, elaborately. So this is called as what is known as a short jump instruction. Okay, this is actually called as a short jump instruction. Okay, there will be near jump and far jumps. This is a near jump instruction. Okay, so the displacement here will in the near jump instruction will be actually minus 128 to 127. Okay, so only 8 bits will be used for capturing the displacement in the near jumps. Okay, so these jumps that you have here, this is the near jumps where the displacement will be in this particular range. So only 1 byte of data will be 1 byte will be used for capturing the displacement, right?
So I had a doubt in this. Like while writing the program, we don't have to specify the displacement, right? We can just use labels.
Labels. That's the convenience that we have.
Okay, sir.
We don't have to take the pain of calculating the displacement and all those things. If you have to do that, it will become very painful, and it will be
Yes, sir.
erroneous also, error prone also, because you might make a mistake in doing that. Okay, wherein it will become very difficult. So that's why we will work with labels. The compiler will actually replace these labels. Okay, when you actually compile it, it will generate the machine code. In the machine code, it will replace this x1 with f7, in this case the displacement. Okay, there will be no labels present in your compiled code, right?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, right. Okay, let's go to the arithmetic instructions. The first arithmetic instruction that we will be looking is add instruction. Okay, the template, or you can say the syntax for this instruction will be add destination comma source. Okay, so what will happen is the source plus the destination, they will be added and they will be stored inside the destination. Okay, the source may be immediate number or register or memory location. Okay, or all these things are possible. Destination can be a register or memory location, which can be specified with any of the 24 addressing modes in this case. So what is not allowed is same like in move instruction, both source and destination cannot be memory locations. Okay, both source and destination cannot be memory locations, as we have seen in the case of move. Source and destination can be of the same size or should be of the same size. Okay, it's not possible, or it should not happen that you are adding a 8-bit data to a 16-bit data. Okay, in this case, contrary to your move instruction, in move instruction, what is the flag which was not affected?
Carry
Carry
flag.
flag.
Carry flag was not affected. In the case of add, all the flags will be affected. Okay, not the control flags, but the status flags. All the status flags will be affected. When I say all flags, it is status flags. Okay, all status flags will be affected. Let us look at an example. Okay, so move CL comma 73. Okay, 73H. Move BL 47H. Okay, add CL comma BL. Okay, so it will add 73 to 4F. Okay, and then it will be stored in CL. Okay, so the result is C2, which is stored inside inside CL. Okay, now actually, if you look at it, if you add this particular thing, okay, if you do the addition of this, how much will that be? So 0 plus 1 is what? 0, 1, 0, 1 plus 1 plus 1. If you do the binary addition, okay, so it will be 1 plus 1. Okay, 1 plus 1 is again 0, 1. Okay, 1 plus 1 is 0, 1. 1 plus 1 is 0, 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 1 with a carry 1. Okay, so you have 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay. Okay, so what is happening here? You are adding two positive numbers and the result is a negative number. Okay, which clearly is a case of an overflow. Okay, so and you can also see by the logic that there is a carry in into the most significant bit, but there is no carry out of the most significant bit. This is 0. Carry out is 0. So from that we can see that the overflow flag will be 1. Okay, and because the most significant bit is 1, the sign flag is 1. The answer is not a 0, therefore 0 flag is 0. You have a carry from bit 3 to bit 4, so auxiliary carry flag is 1. It's an even parity. Okay, it's an even parity. So the parity flag, the parity flag is an issue, I think. Okay, let us look at the parity flag later. But carry flag is surely 0 because you do not have any carry out. You do not have any carry out. Okay, I think we made a mistake here in terms of the addition. Let us look at it. 1 plus 1, 0, 1. Yeah, here it is. That's the issue. Okay, 1 plus 1, 0. And then you have a carry 1 here. 1 plus 1 plus 1. This is 1. Okay, so answer is 1 1 1 1 0 0 0 0 1 0. Okay, so three ones. So carry the parity flag is 0, odd parity. Okay, carry flag is 0 because you do not have any carry out. Okay, so the answer is minus 62 according to this if it is signed. Okay, and if it is unsigned, it is 194. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Can you please repeat the flag part?
Flag part. So what I said was you are adding two positive numbers and you're getting the answer as a negative number. Okay. So it's clearly a case of an of a overflow. Okay. We can also check by the logic that there will be an overflow if the carry in into the most significant bit is not equal to the carry out of the most significant bit. Okay. So in this case, the carry in into most significant bit is 1. Right? Look at this. Okay. And carry out of the most significant bit is what? 0. Okay. So both are not equal. If you XOR them, it will be 1. Okay. So overflow flag is 1. Sign flag is 1 because the most significant bit is 1. 0 flag is 0 because the answer is not a 0. 0 flag will be 1 only when the answer is a 0. Okay. You have an auxiliary carry flag because you have a carry from bit 3 to bit 4. Bit 3 to bit 4. Yes. Okay. So you have an auxiliary carry flag. And because the 8 bits, see, parity flag, as we have discussed in the tutorials also and in the classes also, that parity flag is sensitive, or you can say will be valid only for the lower byte of data. Okay, in this case, you are operating with 8 bits of data. Therefore, the parity flag will be, will look at all these 8 bits. In this, there are 3 ones. So odd parity, therefore parity flag is 0. Right? And carry flag is 0 because you do not have a carry out. Right? Okay. So the answer is 1 1 0 0 0 0 1 0. Okay, so which is minus 62 if you consider it as an signed number, and unsigned, if you consider it as unsigned, it will be 194. Okay. Now,
So what do you mean when you say that parity flag will see the lower bits only?
like for example, if you have move CX, comma 0173H, let us say that. Okay. Move BX, comma 004F4FH. Okay. Now, if I say add CX, comma BX. Okay. If you add CX, comma BX, what will be the answer? The answer will be CX will become, if you look at from this thing, okay, this is C2, right? So you'll have an 101 C2H. Okay, if you put that in binary, it will be 0 0 0 0 0 1. Okay, 1 1 0 0 0 0 1 0. Okay, how many ones are there in this particular answer? Is it even parity or odd parity? If you look at the whole thing,
Even parity.
it's an even parity. However, the parity flag will be 1, which indicates an odd parity. Okay, why? Because it will just consider these last 8 bits to check whether the parity is even or odd. It will not consider the most significant byte or more than 1 byte. Okay, parity flag depicts only the last 8 bits only.
So the parity flag over here would be 0, right? Because it's an odd parity if you're considering only the last 8 bits.
Odd parity flag is 1. Sorry, yeah, it will be 1. It will be 0. Sorry, yeah.
All right.
It will be same as this. Right?
Okay, sir.
Right. Okay, let's proceed. Now, in certain cases, you want to add the carry also. Okay, let us say there are subsequent additions that you are trying to do. Okay, if you want to, let us say, add two datas of each of 6 bytes, let us say that multi-byte addition if you are doing, okay, you might actually want to consider the carry of the previous addition also. Consider like a ripple carry addition. Okay, so the carry of the previous addition will be carried over to the next addition. In that case, you will use an instruction called as ADC. In ADC instruction, it is same as add, except that you will also add the carry flag also. So source plus destination plus carry flag will be stored inside the destination. Right? So you will add the carry flag also. Okay, let us say that you have this particular example. Okay, you want to add 6 bytes of data. Okay, so let us say that you have FA here and 2 1 here. This is the source and this is the destination. Okay, let us say that. Okay, so you will be adding these two. FA plus this thing will be 1B. Okay, so here previously it was 21. Okay, so that will come back to 1B. Okay, and then if you actually look at this, okay, A plus 1 is B, A plus 1 is B, F plus 2 is what? F plus 2 is 1 with a carry. F1 with a carry. It is 1 1 with a carry. Now 1 plus F plus 0 is what? 0 with a carry into this. E plus 1 is what? F plus 1, 0 with a carry. Okay, so this is a carry from generated from here. Okay, 1 plus B plus 0 is C. A plus 9 is how much? A plus 9 is how much? Anybody? 10 plus 9, 19. 19 is 13H. Okay, so 3 plus 1. Okay, 1 plus 6 plus 7 is what? 14. 14 in hexadecimal is E. 5 plus 6 is what? 11. 11 in hexadecimal is B. There's no carry out here. So 0. 4 plus 3 is 7. F plus 3 is what? 0, 1, 2. 1, 2H. Okay. 8 plus 1, 9. 9 plus 1, A. 9 plus 7 is how much? 15. Sorry, 16. 16 is in hexadecimal is 0, 1. So you have a carry out here. Okay. You have a carry out. Okay. So how you will do this in the form of a program? Let us look at that. Okay. So I first load my DS with AX, move 2000 into AX, and then AX we load it with a DS. Okay, and then move SI with 00, and DI. It's actually you're adding 20,000 H with 21,000 H. Okay, so I move SI into 0000, DI with 1000H, and the count I will put it as CL. Okay, let's do one thing. Let us, okay, yeah, move CL 6. This is your count. Okay, and then I'm actually BL, move BL 00. I'm just making it 0. Now CLC will actually clear your carry flag, clears carry flag. Okay, this is an instruction to clear your carry flag. Okay, similarly, STC sets carry flag. Right? So first I will take one data from 42,000 from 2000H. Okay, so this is my source, this is my destination. Okay, okay, so ADC DI brackets comma AL. Okay, and then I will increment SI, I will increment DI and decrement CL. Okay, decrement CL because after every one byte of addition I will reduce CL. CL keeps the count. Okay, and I will keep repeating it till CL will become 0. Why? I have to do 6 bytes of addition. Okay, once 6 bytes of addition is done, okay, then I will check in the last byte of addition. Now the problem is that last byte might actually generate one carry out. Okay, this one has to be stored inside the next location. Okay, automatically it will not happen. Automatically it will not happen because the last addition will generate a carry out. That carry out cannot be stored, carry out will not be stored in any location. It will be just in the carry flag. Okay, but if you want that, if at all that carry flag, if you want to store it in the next location, in this case which was 41006, if you want to store it here, okay, so this is first byte, this second, this is third, this is fourth, this is fifth, this is sixth byte. Okay, so till here this is the sixth byte. In the seventh byte of the destination, I want to store the carry flag of the last addition. Okay, so in that case what I will do is, if the last addition was here, it will end the loop. Okay, here end the loop. Now after the loop is completed, okay, it will come here. Okay, if carry is set, okay, then I will just go to this particular instruction. Otherwise, if carry is generated in the next in the last addition, if carry is generated in the last addition, what I will do is I will increase BL, and that increased BL I will store it in DI. Okay, why in DI? DI actually will be incremented after every addition, and it was incremented in the last sixth addition also. So it will go from first addition, it will go from 00 to 1. Okay, it will jump from here to here in the first addition. Okay, second addition it will jump to here, third it will jump here, fourth it will jump here, fifth it will jump here, and after the sixth addition it will jump here. Right?
Sir, what does JNC do?
JNC is jump if not carry. Jump if not carry. If no carry is there, it will just jump to X2, where it will just store 0 into DI, the seventh location. If carry is generated, then this particular instruction will be executed. Executed when carry generated. right? So when carry is generated, BL will be incremented because BL previously was 0. BL will be incremented if carry is generated, and that incremented carry, that means BL, when if carry is generated, BL becomes 1, and 1 will go into the seventh location, seventh byte.
So
Okay, stored. Yes.
can't we directly
Right?
do move di comma carry CF instead of
No, you can't do that.
jumping to x2?
How can you do that? You can't access. Carry flag is not a register.
Yes, sir. Okay, got it.
Carry flag is not, carry flag itself is not a register, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so any doubts if you have with this particular example, we will continue in the next class. Okay, I have to leave now immediately. It's anyways time and we can't take any doubts further. So we will start with this particular thing. If you have any queries, please note it down now because you may not remember it in the next class. So if you have any queries, note it down now, and we will start with the doubts that if you have any in the next class. Right? Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for joining. We have to end the call here. Right. Thanks.